New Model Army are an English post-punk alternative rock band formed in Bradford, West Yorkshire in 1980 by its lead singer and main composer Justin Sullivan, bassist Stuart Morrow and drummer Phil Tompkins. Within a few months, Tompkins had left to be replaced by Rob Waddington, who himself was replaced in summer 1982 by Robert Charles Heaton. Overview: New Model Army formed in Bradford, West Yorkshire in October 1980, taking their name from Thomas Fairfax's English Revolution militia. The original lineup featured Justin Sullivan, bassist Stuart Morrow and drummer Phil Tompkins. By the time they began making their first records in 1983, Robert Heaton had joined as drummer. In the intervening years, members have included Jason Moose Harris, Ricky Warwick, Chris McLaughlin, Nelson, Adrian Porters, Dave Blomberg and Ed Allen Johnson. The current lineup features Dean White, Michael Dean, Marshall Gill and Siri Munger. Their music has always been unclassifiable, drawing on influences across the musical spectrum: a Europunk, folk, soul, metal and classical, while Sullivan a Euro unregistered trademark S lyrics, which range from directly political through to the spiritual and personal, have always been considered as a key part of the band a Euro unregistered trademark S appeal. Above all, they feature storytelling and landscapes, and Sullivan a Euro unregistered trademark S long-time association with the artist, novelist, and poet Jules Denby, who was the band a Euro unregistered trademark S first manager and remains to this day their art designer, has underpinned much of the band a Euro unregistered trademark S ethos. Their first mini-album Vengeance, written against the backdrop of the early Thatcher years, was an uncompromising and musically original debut. Following a performance on the Tube, it reached number 1 in the UK independent chart in early 1984. The band then made a series of albums for EMI, attracting some of the world a Euro unregistered trademark S best-known producers and mixers, including Glyn Johns, Tom Dowd, Andy Wallace, Bob Clearmountain and Nico Bolas. These albums, No Rest for the Wicked, The Ghost of Cain, Thunder and Consolation, Impurity, The Love of Hopeless Causes, brought the band chart recognition and large sales across the world. However, despite these successes, the band remained staunchly outside the mainstream, exploring different sounds, styles and ideas a Euro, all the while supported by a famously fanatical and loyal fan base. In 1996, foreseeing how the internet was going to change the music industry, they returned to their independent roots, setting up their own Attack Records label, and continued to thrive creatively with a series of albums: Strange Brotherhood, 8, a Euro OE Lost Songs, a Euro, Carnival, High and Today is a Good Day. The period around their 30th anniversary, celebrated in 2010 with special marathon shows across 4 continents, was accompanied by misfortunes including the sudden death of longtime manager, Tommy T, and a fire that destroyed their studio and archive. However, the band emerged with 2 revolutionary albums, Between Dog and Wolf and Between Wine and Blood, mixed by Joe Barresi and greeted with surprise and acclaim by critics, and a return to the top 40 in the UK and Germany. In October 2014, a documentary feature film about the band a Euro unregistered trademark S career and recent return to higher public awareness, a Euro OE Between Dog and Wolf, The New Model Army Story, a Euro by Royal Television Academy Award winner director Matt Reed from Hustler Street Films, premiered at the Rindance Film Festival in London and the Festival du Nouveau Cinema in Montreal. History: the band was named after the English Revolutionary Army of Thomas Fairfax. Led by guitarist/vocalist, Justin Sullivan, the group has a loyal, global, multi-generational cult following called the Family. New Model Army frequently toured with more than 5 band members. In November 1985, the British music magazine, NME, reported that the New Model Army had been refused work permits to the United States. This was because the U.S. Immigration Department had said the band's work is of no artistic merit. Nigel Morton, NMA's manager, commented, "If it's all down to the band's politics, it's a bit strange because Billy Bragg and Poison Girls, whose politics are exactly the same as New Model Army's, have all been allowed entry into the States recently. We've already appealed against the decision." In the magazine's December 1986 edition, they stated that New Model Army had finally got permission to tour in the U.S. In January 1993, just 6 months after Sullivan was nearly accidentally electrocuted on stage, the band issued the single Here Comes the War. The resultant controversy stemmed from its enclosed instructions of how to construct a nuclear device. The ex-New Model Army member, Ricky Warwick, went on to form the Almighty in 1988. Former members Chris McLaughlin and Stuart Morrow played in the band loud between 1989 and 1993. The band has also collaborated with electric violinist Ed Allen Johnson, who worked with them on their top 40 single Vagabonds, and their albums Thunder and Consolation and Impurity, as well as touring extensively with them for 5 years. Allen Johnson later released several solo albums, including Ultraviolet, which peaked at number 68 in the UK. The group also tours as Justin Sullivan and Friends, which means a more acoustic set without some players, and is linked to Red Sky Coven, in which Sullivan also plays. In early 2003, Sullivan released Navigating by the Stars, a solo album recorded with other band members and featuring Michael Dean on drums, Dean White on guitar, Danny Thompson on double bass, and Mark Feltham on harmonica. In 2004, their one-time drummer Robert Heaton died of pancreatic cancer. After a short tour at the end of 2004, the group returned to the studio to record their 9th studio album, Carnival. EMI has released 4 remastered earlier albums. The next studio album, High, was released in the UK on August 20, 2007, and in North America on September 4, 2007. On September 5, 2007, their North American tour in support of High was cancelled when they were denied visas by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Today is a Good Day, was released in September 2009. On 3 and 4 December 2010, the band played 2 dates at the London Forum, celebrating their 30th anniversary, following dates throughout mainland Europe, Brazil and the United States. Between Dog and Wolf was released in September 2013. Their latest album is called Between Wine and Blood and was released in September 2014. It is a double album with a studio and a live album. The live tracks are recorded during the 2013 tour and are all songs from the album Between Dog and Wolf. Main contributors: Justin Sullivan, vocalist, born April 8, 1956, Jordans, Buckinghamshire, England; Robert Heaton, drummer, born Robert Charles Heaton, July 6, 1961, Knutsford, Cheshire. Died of pancreatic cancer, November 4, 2004. Nelson, bassist, born Peter Leslie Neese, lives in Colchester. Spent 22 years with the band. Discography Studio albums Vengeance, No Rest for the Wicked, The Ghost of Cain, Thunder and Consolation, Impurity, The Love of Hopeless Causes, Strange Brotherhood, 8, Carnival, High, Today is a Good Day, Between Dog and Wolf, Between Wine and Blood. Live albums, Raw Melody Men and Nobody Else, Fuck Texas, Sing For Us. References. External links, official website, New Model Army at MySpace, discography, interview with Justin on German-Swiss Culture Channel 3 Sat, Berg Herzberg Festival, July 17, 2010, video interview Justin Sullivan, What is Really Important to You? New Model Army interview at rockremedy.com, Part 1 Part 2 Part 3, acoustic performances at rockremedy.com, Green and Grey Into the Wind.